Hey everyone, thanks for learning to play games. My name is Lance, and in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at Aliens Another Glorious Day in the Core. This is a game by Gale 9, and they just did a reprinting with an update to the rulebook. So as you can see here, there's going to be a little icon on the back of the game box so you can determine which edition you have. And you can also tell with the old versus the new edition. With the new edition, it's a little bit more vibrant, and it also has Gale 9's new logo at the bottom corner. So other than that, what is the difference? What have they changed? Has there been major upgrades? Do I need to buy a whole new game to replace my old game? What is going on? So I have scrubbed through the two different rule books, and there's basically just 9 minor changes to the rules. Most of these are just some clarifications. Some of them are some tweaks to make the game a little easier. So depending upon if you want to maintain the same difficulty, if you've played through the Aliens Another Glorious Day in the Core already, or if you want to adjust things, that is going to be up to you. But again, most of these are just minor changes, and you can simply use this video to update your game of Another Glorious Day in the Core. If you don't want to buy a new edition, you do not need to. There is nothing that is added to it as far as components or anything like that. The game is exactly the same. There's just some, again, adjustments to the rules, mainly, again, clarifications and some just fine-tuning of the rules, which is a very well appreciated thing. So let's go ahead and get into the video. Again, with this series, I'm going to be looking at another with the expansions as well. Those are going to be coming very shortly at this point. I also have a brand new playthrough video that I dropped a week back. So if you're interested in checking this out and finding out more about this game, and if this is one you want to add to your collection, go ahead and check that as well. I also have a full teaching video. I won't be updating the teaching video again, as these are just minor adjustments and they're all going to be covered in this video. So as always, if you find my videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we continue to grow, be able to produce this content. If you want to get notified anytime I drop new videos, as well as brand new coverage of Aliens Another Glorious Day of the Core, hit that notification bell, and that'll let you know whenever I drop new stuff. So let's go ahead and head to the table, and we'll find out what has changed. So the first thing I want to cover is during the Marine phase. And during the Marine phase, there are a number of steps that are going to be done in order when it is your turn. So in the old rules, there was 7 steps that are going to be done in order. In the new rules, that was cut down to 6, as they took the first step, which is adjusting your aim dial back to its starting value, to doing that before anybody takes their turn. So that is going to be the first thing that all players do, instead of it going and being the first thing that each player does during their turn. So this was simply, in my opinion, done just to speed things up and so that players don't forget to do this step. So everybody does this at the beginning of the Marine turn, and then it moves into each individual's player's turn. They'll go through the 6 steps now. There was also some adjustments to the line of sight rules. This is probably one of the bigger changes, if you want to call any change in this update a big change. With line of sight, you are going to draw a line from anywhere on your square to anywhere on your target square, and as long as it doesn't pass through a wall or another character, you have line of sight to that model. So let's look at some examples of this. And in the rulebook, it does show, for example, that with Ripley, she would draw a line from her corner, and it now will extend to the end of this. In the old rules, this was ignored, and it would just go off of the wall itself. But now this is all included. So for example, with Ripley, now she cannot see this space here or this space here, but just this space on this side, as well as this space is also blocked. So looking at some examples again, Ripley cannot see this alien as the doorway is closed here. She can see this alien as her line goes from that corner to this corner, and it does not cross through a wall. She is not able to see this alien because, again, her line would cross through that alien. She cannot see this alien as Hudson is blocking that alien. Now, one important note with this, though, is let's go ahead and say, for example, that Hicks is here, Hudson's there, and this alien happens to be in this space in between them. Now, these characters block line of sight, but you can draw a line diagonally through both of them at the corner, and so Ripley can see that square, so she could target that alien in that example. The next adjustment that was made is to breaking through barricades, whether they're on doors, tunnels, or spawn points. In the old rules, you would have needed a 4 or better on the alien die to break through one of these, basically meaning 50% of the time they were going to break through. In the new rules, this has been adjusted to only a 5 and 6 will allow the alien to break through a barricade on a door, tunnel, or spawn point, making it harder for the aliens and making those barricades even more valuable. Now, this is going to make the game a little bit easier as it's going to hold the aliens at bay longer. So this is one that I would say would be kind of optional, whether you want the game to be a little easier or if you want it to be more challenging, I might go with that 4+ instead. The next rule that was adjusted is defensive fire, and this one is simply just a clarification. So normally with defensive fire, when any alien moves into a space adjacent to a character, any character that is within 4 spaces of that alien and has line of sight to them can make defensive fire, including the player that it moved next to. So for example, with this alien, when it moves during its turn and it gets ready to attack Hudson, Hudson's going to get to make defensive fire first, as he's the closest character. Any other character that is within 4 spaces of that can also make defensive fire if Hudson fails. Now, the new clarification to this is if an alien starts in a space that is adjacent to a character, or starts its move adjacent to a character, that character gets to make defensive fire against that alien as well. As this alien is already adjacent to Hudson, normally you would think that the alien has already moved, so maybe Hudson does not get defensive fire against that alien. But in this new clarification, he does, and so we'll be able to make defensive fire against that alien before it is able to attack him. There is also some clarification on knockdown. So knockdown, it has been clarified now that when a character is knocked down, you're going to place their model on its side, and then a knocked down character must skip all actions. This is going to include any free actions like defensive fire, but it can still make defensive rolls, or defense rolls. So if another alien comes up and it tries to attack it, it's still going to get its defense roll against that. Any character will stand up automatically at the start of the alien's turn if there are no alien models in the spaces next to them. So again, you will not be able to take any free actions as well as standard actions when knocked down. The next clarification is with Blip Activation. And again, like I said, this is simply just a clarification, adding a few more sentences to a paragraph to clarify. So with this one, the second paragraph in activating blips has been extended, which says that when activated, a blip will always move, and then any aliens placed from the blip, which is the addition, will finish their move and attack if able to do so. And then you're going to complete the blip's full activation before moving on to the next one. So in the example I have here, I have Hicks watching this corridor, and he knows that a blip is coming. Unfortunately, the aliens have rolled a 6. So in this example, the blip's going to move 6 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that Hicks has line of sight to it, he is going to immediately flip that over, and it's a 2. So we're going to replace that with a swarm of aliens. And then from there, the alien is going to continue its movement. It has 2 movement left, so it is going to be able to move adjacent to Hicks and attack. Now Hicks will get his defensive roll as normal. And the final change I found was during the final step in the alien phase, which is having you draw motion tracker cards. In the original game, you were going to draw motion tracker cards, or each player would draw a motion tracker card and resolve it. In the new rules, as you can see on this chart here, it is going to be based on the number of players, and you're going to draw collectively that number of motion tracking cards. So with 1 player, that player would draw and resolve 2 motion tracker cards. In a 2 or 4 player game, the players would collectively draw 3 motion tracking cards and resolve them. And in a 5 or more player game, you're going to draw 4 motion tracker cards and resolve those. And you can either have 1 player do this, or you can have a couple players, however you want to do it, but now it is a chart as opposed to just having each player draw and resolve 1. And that way then 1 person could handle it per se, or however you want to do it. It's totally up to you. Well, that's everything that I found. Let me know in the comments down below if you noticed anything else. I combed through the rulebooks pretty close to try to find anything else, but I might have missed something, so let me know. Other than that, like I said, it's just very minor tweaks and adjustments and mainly clarifications to the rules, which is always very helpful. So I hope you found the video helpful. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this, and if you want to see any other coverage on Aliens Another Glorious Day in the Core. And until next time, I'll see you later.